D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025. The Game. Willie Donick, Adam Vingan, David Janes here with you. Derek Mason is in the parking lot and hasn't shown up for work. Where is Derek Mason? I see his car. It's in the parking lot. Derek Mason. Pick up the red courtesy phone. Derek Mason.
Maybe that's who already called it. Maybe somebody's on the red courtesy phone with him.
I don't know.
They called his red courtesy phone.
I see his car in the parking lot.
It must be very important business. You know, Derek is a man who's very important.
This show starts at 3 o'clock. It is 3:01 p.m., and Derek Mason isn't here. I know Derek Mason. He's a proud member of the Tennessee Titans, one of y'all's favorite all-time Tennessee Titans players.
Maybe somebody from the Titans called him about the uniform because he was very passionate.
That is true.
Yesterday, don't take the Navy out of the logo. It means a lot to Titans fans. Maybe somebody called him up. Wanted to have a discussion about it.
This is what I was going to say. I'm not cutting him any slack for all that he did for the Tennessee Titans.
Nothing.
This show starts at 3 o'clock. It is 3:02, and he's not in his chair.
Wow, man. I mean,
I run a tight ship.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
He's here. He's here.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Look who decided to show up for work. Derek Mason.
Were your ears burning coming up the stairs, Derek? Holy cow. You got roasted by our leader.
I cut you zero slack.
Good grief.
For all that you did for the Tennessee Titans organization. Zero slack. Derek Mason.
Getting yelled at by the point guard.
Yeah. That's right.
He's used to it.
Yeah, he is.
I don't yell at Derek.
Well, being yelled at by, the
QBs,
the
wide receiver coach.
As my mama would tell me, boy, it's going in one ear out the other. And that's exactly what it's doing, Adam.
Robert says maybe he's in the bathroom. He was not in the bathroom.
No, I explained that Derek is a very important person. I'm sure it was a very important matter that he had to take care of.
Was it an important matter, Derek Mason?
Absolutely. It was. Absolutely, it was an important matter. The fire trucks were everywhere.
The dog ate your homework?
I ran into 2 sets of fire engines and ambulance coming to work. I thought everybody's supposed to be at work at this time.
It was really weird. It was really backed up, even more so than normal on our little road here that leads to our secret station location.
It's not very secret.
Well, it's kind of like it's a secret, comes out of nowhere location, right?
Yes.
It's hidden in plain view.
It shows up like the Batcave.
It shows up like the Batcave. Like you're cruising along Murphy's Road, and you go up the little hill, sharp hill with the brick wall around it. You don't know what's going on.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad you decided to show up for work.
I'm glad I'm here as well.
We have Olympic hockey on in the studio. Sweden up 2-0 against Latvia in the qualifying round. The winner of this matchup will face Team USA tomorrow afternoon. The Swedes up 2-0 in this game. We will talk about how Predators fans are going to have to choose their allegiance tomorrow.
Yes.
Because Roman Josi and Switzerland will take on UC Saros, Eric Haula, and Finland in the quarterfinals. So we will get to that. But first, I learned this morning on Robbie and Rex Road, my favorite morning program, that today is National Random Acts of Kindness Day. And you know how I learned about that? Because Robbie told me, he didn't tell me. Well, he told all of you, and then I guess told me as well because I was listening.
You're part of the audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robbie told us that the Tennessee Titans delivered breakfast to them this morning. And you know what I say to that?
What?
Where's our food, Tennessee Titans? Where's your random act of kindness?
It's in the kitchen still.
For us?
They have pastries in there. It's in the kitchen.
It's 9 hours old.
It's still in there.
We appreciate
there are cookies.
The gesture.
It's 9 hours old. Is this because I insulted T-Rack yesterday?
Yes.
It could be. Definitely.
Is this because I said that his fur looks a bit matted? He needs a refresh.
Why are you going in again on him?
Because I did not receive a random act of kindness from the Titans today.
So you decided to be mean?
I'm going to be meaner.
They did that by way of, they figured Rex and Robbie wasn't going to eat all of them. And they hedged their bets on at least 2 would be left at the end of the day, or 3. And that 3 probably would go to myself, Willie, and David, and not you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you never know with Joe's gout, right? You don't know what he can and cannot eat.
He probably can't eat all that sweet. Man.
I heard Joe talking about potentially tearing his PCL on the leg curl machine. Rexroad is the human embodiment of the Operation board game.
You would think that guy was like just played
made of glass.
Years
Rexroad, you are made of glass. Now he'll tell you all of those pickup games at the Y or like playing pro sports because Rexroad, he takes no prisoners.
No, I'm sure
when he plays pickup basketball.
I'm sure when Rex play, he go hard, and that's the problem.
He likes to yell at the older guys too. That he's
that's the
against.
problem. You're still trying to go hard.
Well,
you're hurting yourself, Rex.
It's only one way to play.
Willie knows what I'm talking about.
The wall. Let's go.
No blood, no foul.
That's right.
No blood.
I tore my ACL on the basketball court at age 40, and I was playing so well against younger guys, and I was talking trash. The next thing you know, I was down. I was down.
No harm, no foul. Get it up. Let's
go.
Down
for the count.
Ball up. That's all you got to do.
That's right.
Ball up.
Our friend Hair Metal Henry says on our text line, I think I speak on behalf of at least 4 surrounding counties in the listening area that we all love Angry Adam. I mean, I don't get angry too often.
But they like it.
But when I'm passionate about something, I can get worked up a little bit. So we've got a lot to discuss today. Trevor Maddich, ESPN analyst, will join us at 4:20. Predators GM Barry Trotz will rejoin us. He took the week off last week because of the Olympics, but he's back on the program today at 5 o'clock ahead of his appearance tomorrow on Smashville Live, presented by Gary Force Acura. That's tomorrow night at 6 p.m. here on 102.5 The Game, live from Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Willie Donick, Max Hers, co-hosting Smashville Live with Barry Trotz. So you get Barry Trotz 2 days in a row here at 5 o'clock, tomorrow at 6 o'clock on 102.5 The Game as part of Smashville Live. So yesterday, of course, much of our conversation was about this reported Titans redesign. More light blue, less navy blue, so long flaming thumbtack. And y'all had a lot of thoughts on these reported changes. And as I said to start yesterday's show, if there is one thing that gets sports fans all in a tizzy, it's new uniforms, which got the three of us thinking. We thought we would have some fun to start today's show. Looking at what the Titans could be doing with their uniforms, we thought we would discuss the best and worst uniform redesigns in sports. It doesn't just have to be football. It can be baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. You let us know as well. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Now, I don't think the Titans reported changes are going to fall into the worst category, but maybe some of you think that way. But Willie, I know you're like me. You love uniforms.
I do.
When you were thinking about the best and worst uniform redesigns in sports, which teams came to mind?
Well, my rule of thumb, as I said yesterday, I don't like when you change the colors. I think if you got your colors, you can work within the colors, but don't change the colors. And there are some franchises that have done it more than once, and it gets very confusing. So when your fans come to the game and they're wearing the different uniforms from the past, which everybody's going to do, it gets all messed up. There's all these color schemes throughout your crowd, and that's not ideal. So one of the worst ones that the worst one that I can think of, and then we'll come back around to the best one. But this is a great example. The San Diego Padres, they're now back to where they should be, right? I think they have a very distinct, even if you're not a huge fan of the brown and gold, there's not a whole lot of brown and gold teams out there. But it is an interesting combination, and they had it for a long time, their first, 15, 20 years. Then right after they got to the World Series in the 1980s, and they lost to Derek Mason's beloved Detroit Tigers in the World Series, they completely switched their colors to orange and brown and gray. And it was just not a good look. They kept that for a while. Then they switched to orange and blue. for another 10 years or so, they got even further away from the distinct design that they had at the beginning. Now they've come full circle and gone back to what they never should have left to begin with, and they have a really good uniform. So I will say the Padres of the mid-'80s and then through the 90s when they changed, that was a terrible reboot. And I would put the California / Anaheim / Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in that mix as a close second. The Angels went away from, I thought, a really good uniform in the 70s and 80s. And for a while, remember the movie Angels in the Outfield where they had
of course.
Those uniforms were terrible. And they went with those for a while. No connection to their old uniforms, which I thought were good. I would go back to the original, but that's me. But the Padres are my winner.
I'm reminded of the World Series where the Padres were swept by the New York Yankees. And
1998.
They were wearing the navy and orange uniforms. Trevor Hoffman, Tony Gwynn.
Right. No connection with any of the colors to the original Padres or the current Padres. So a fan who doesn't connect with that team is going to look like, who are those guys? Like, I like when whatever year it is, I don't care what decade, when you see the uniform, you know what that team is. That, to me, is a good uniform.
For me, as we discussed briefly yesterday, as a child of the 90s, I loved the look of 90s uniforms in the NBA. I brought up the Detroit Pistons teal jersey, which the two of the old heads over here absolutely despised. But to me, as I was thinking about this, the first jersey that came to mind was the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz uniforms they wore when they went head-to-head with the Chicago Bulls, the purple with the mountains on it, an iconic look.
Okay.
Iconic look. And I would say in the early 2000s, they ditched that uniform for just a plain navy and light blue set that just said Utah on it. No mountains, no nothing. Just terrible. And I believe the Jazz have since gone back to the mountain look, the mountain range look. But although the Jazz were never able to get past the Chicago Bulls when it counted, man, did they look awesome when they were trying. John Stockton, Karl Malone, Greg Ostertag.
Oh, yes. Jeff
Hornacek. Yeah. Those looks.
Hornacek.
Yeah. That look, that purple with the mountainscape. Oh, it's brilliant.
It's a good call.
And the fact that the Jazz decided for several years to ditch that. Terrible idea. Just awful.
Let me ask you guys an NBA broad question. I would say that the Celtics, the Lakers, some of the teams have not done this. There are too many teams that have gone completely off the rails with the number of different uniforms that they're wearing. And to the point where sometimes, and I think the Jazz are one of them, sometimes they will have an entirely different court with the colors that match the uniform they have. And that, to me, is a no-go. It's too much. It's too much. Didn't the Jazz had like something that looked like the Phoenix Suns for a while? Like
they wore orange.
In there. They had orange in there. Like, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are your colors? Stay with your colors. Stay with your colors.
The Utah Jazz should wear the uniforms that Karl Malone and John Stockton wore forever. Forever.
Or at least something that's close.
Yes.
Something's close.
I mean, they were all right.
What do you mean they were all right? Those were awesome uniforms.
They used to always get beat down, though.
But they looked good. It's okay to get beat down if you're looking good.
I'm just talking in the playoffs. That's all.
All right, what do you got, D-Mace?
I am obviously, Adam, when the Pistons went to that old horse thing and those teal colors was the ugliest uniform, perhaps, in the NBA at the time. That may have been the ugliest uniforms. Then they went back to the more traditional, which they should have kept it. It was nice, clean. You could jazz it up, which they have. But when they went to that whole teal, it was completely out of the spectrum of the colors that we were used to. They took the dark bluish color and I don't know what they made that color. So
it's teal.
It's teal. We hated it. Piston fans hated it.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, the Buccaneers watching football. Oh, they were awful. The popsicle, they were awful.
The creamsicle, yeah.
The creamsicle. But the one for me was the old school Denver Nuggets. It was awful. It was just the mountains in the background, and then it was these 3 colors, and it was just blue, and it was ugly. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
The Nuggets are another one that have done so many different things that you can't keep track of them all.
They went to the Nuggets just across the chest to some other stuff. It's like they just couldn't get it right.
They too many different looks. You don't know what the real one is.
I vaguely recall the Nuggets jersey color being best described as a poop brown at one point.
It wasn't good.
What?
I'm talking about the Nuggets of the 80s.
The 80s, they had like the rainbow kind of look.
It was the rainbow look, and then it was the mountains in the back.
With the mountains, yeah. And then they went to something completely. They've changed their colors more than once.
Okay, maybe not quite poop brown. That's what I'm talking about. The Kembe Mutombo.
But just look how different that is. Look at the one on the bottom left.
The one on the bottom.
The rainbow
totally
one.
different.
That's great. That's a great one.
That was at least distinctive. But they've gone away from that for a long time.
And this sort of ties into the conversation we were having yesterday about the Tennessee Titans. If the reports and the leaked logo are accurate, the Tennessee Titans are going to be embracing the Oilers look, the light blue, the red accents, the navy. If it's not going to be completely removed, it's going to be much less prominent on these jerseys. And I think that's what a lot of fans were talking about yesterday. That's what you were certainly talking about yesterday, Derek, that uniforms represent not only a team's identity, but a city's identity. The Tennessee Titans, the two-tone blue, that represents Nashville and Nashville sports. So you're expecting the light blue and the navy blue. And by going away from that, reportedly, it makes a lot of Titans fans and former Titans players feel upset because that represents the identity of the city, of the football fans in this town. So I do think a bad uniform redesign, to Willie's point, is when you remove the colors, the logos, what made that team distinct. And I think that's what a lot of Titans fans are concerned about with these reported changes.
I think it will still be a distinct sort of look because outside of the Carolina Panthers, I don't think too many teams, their dominant color is a light blue. I think LA Chargers, I think they may have an alternate or something that has.
I had the Chargers as my good reboot. They kind of went back to it.
They were in the Navy.
In the AFL way back, they had the light blue and the gold. Then they went with the Dan Fouts era. They had more of a navy and gold, and that sort of carried. And I thought those were solid uniforms. I like those uniforms. But going back to what they have now, I say is a big.
It's more of a It's more of their traditional.
That's very distinct. Yes. I think it's a really good look.
615-737-1025. With the Titans reportedly changing their look, what are the best and worst redesigns in sports in recent history? Or it doesn't have to be recent history. It can be of all time, because some of you are older and some of you are younger. Your favorite and least favorite sports uniform redesign, 615-737-1025. Quick note, Philip Forsberg got on the board for Sweden. The Swedes are up 3-0 against Latvia. So it appears that Philip Forsberg and Sweden are on a collision course with Team USA tomorrow afternoon in the men's Olympic hockey tournament quarterfinals. 615-737-1025. Today, Vanderbilt baseball takes on Eastern Michigan at Hawkins Field at 4:30 p.m. Catch all of the action on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. Coverage is presented by Gary Force Acura. D-Mace, Fingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. The Latvians have gotten on the board. 3-1 Sweden. Philip Forsberg scored the third goal for Sweden. The winner of this hockey game will advance to face Team USA tomorrow afternoon, a 2 p.m. Central puck drop, if I am not mistaken.
That is correct. It'll be going on tomorrow during our show. The other 3 quarterfinals are set. Canada will play the Czechs, the 1 versus 8. Czechia was able to eliminate Denmark today. It was not easy, but they did it. You mentioned Roman Josi, who scored a goal today. Switzerland pretty easily beat Italy 3-0. Switzerland plays Finland. That is a really tough matchup there. So UC Saros versus Roman Josi. And then Slovakia will take on Germany. Germany was able to win today to stay alive also.
We will catch up with Predators GM Barry Trotz at 5 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on what he has seen in this Olympic men's hockey tournament. But we are discussing, in the wake of the Tennessee Titans' reported changes in their color scheme and uniforms, the best and worst uniform redesigns in sports. Now, Willie, you said that if your team has a color, it needs to stick with that color.
Yes.
So I will share my best, and I will go back to my childhood.
Okay.
I grew up a fan of the Washington Capitals. And when the Washington Capitals entered the NHL in the early to mid 70s, no shocker, they wore red, white, and blue.
Right.
The Washington
which
Capitals.
they do today. Yeah.
Yes. But in between, they changed their color scheme in the mid 90s to blue, black, and bronze. When Alex Ovechkin.
And you're in on this?
No, I'm getting there.
Okay.
When Alex Ovechkin debuted in the NHL, he wore blue, black, and bronze.
Yep. They made the Stanley Cup final in 1998
against the Red Wings.
And the outgoing David Poile, who was built that team but then left to take the Predators job. He got fired, I guess, right before that. But that's the colors they wore for that.
Yes. But in 2007, the Capitals went back to red, white, and blue. That's my best.
Okay.
They went back.
So they came to their senses,
yes,
and came back to their original.
They're the jerseys that they wear now, basically.
Okay.
Those were reintroduced about 20 years ago.
Those are good uniforms.
And look, I have a couple of shirts from the blue, black, and bronze era. The Screaming Eagle, one of my favorites. And the Capitals have repurposed that logo onto their red, white, and blue. But for me, that's the best, because in the 90s, teams tried to be too funky. I know I just told you how much I love the Jazz uniforms.
Too loud.
They tried to be funky in the 90s. Sometimes you just have to think simply. And the Capitals going back to red, white, and blue was the right choice.
All right. I mentioned the Chargers as one of the best. To me, the best, though, in the NFL, it's not even close. The Bengals, when they went from, when I was a kid, just straight up black jerseys, white numbers, orange helmet that just simply said Bengals in block letters. They're like, what is going on with that uniform? Then in the early 80s, they flipped to what they have today. And I can tell you, as a kid, that was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. Like, look at these helmets. Like, nobody had ever seen the tiger stripe helmets before, and the jerseys with the tiger stripes on there. And they happened to be really good that year. They got to the Super Bowl. They lost to Joe Montana and the 49ers. But I thought that was a great overnight sensation of a uniform change. That was a big upgrade. So much so that when I was in New York as a kid, there were kids in my class that like wanted that jersey. They didn't care about the Bengals at all, but they just thought it was a really cool jersey. And then one or two kids who had the means showed up with the jersey like that. And they were like, I just wanted to have it because it was cool with the tiger stripes. So I thought that was a great, because it's still to this day an iconic thing. Now, they've done some things over the years where it's gotten a little too busy, too much of the stripes and the different colors, but that's a really good uniform when they've got it right.
You know who else had a bad uniform and it remains that way? The Indiana Pacers. They haven't. So they've tried the black or the, I don't know what color they call it, navy.
It's navy.
But the stripes and then the old jerseys two-tone, and then the way that the whole pattern design was bad for the Indiana Pacers when they were winning and when they were losing. And even now, I still believe they had one of the worst jerseys in the NBA.
The Pacers. So is there one that comes to mind for you that was a good switch, an upgrade?
Oh, man. I think the Falcons did a good job with their upgrade.
See, they've had so many different ones. Now, they've never changed
the Baltimore
their colors.
Ravens have done a good upgrade because their original ones were bad.
I agree. They have done a good job.
And they've done a much better job. And they tried to go back for some reason, sort of to the way the jersey was, not the colors, because they kept the colors. It was more so how they patterned it on the jersey, and it was bad. So now they are who they are right now. So, but that's one team that I think did a great job going from their original colors, still keeping the same colors, but the jersey being a little bit more up to date.
Mike from Clarksville says, I like the rebrand for the Titans with the Oilers colors, but I also think the Titans and Predators should also have the same color scheme as well and play off each other. Thoughts? Now, there are only 2 cities that I can think of where all of the professional teams wear the same color. One is Pittsburgh. The Steelers, the Pirates, and the Penguins all wear black and gold. And I guess you could include, Willie, New York, because the Knicks, the Mets, and the Islanders all wear blue and orange.
Yeah.
But I can't think of any other cities.
But of course, there's so many other teams in New York.
Right.
I don't know if that counts.
Yeah. Pittsburgh may be the only one.
Yeah.
Where all of their teams wear the same colors.
Too late to change now. You can't do it for that reason.
Yeah, I can't. It's an interesting thought, but I don't think the Predators are going to redesign to match the Titans or vice versa.
Some of the same colors implemented in both jerseys. I think teams do that. Predators do it with the Navy, and the Titans had the Navy, so that was a color that was transferable.
Which could be a new problem
if
they're taking the Navy out.
Exactly. And there are other cities out there where, it may not be the whole color scheme, but there are colors within, both jerseys that are connected.
Matthew from Jolton has changed his worst, but earlier he said the move that the Predators made to the overwhelming majority gold jersey with the Adidas switch was his worst.
He didn't like that, huh?
Too much of one color, he said.
I thought, honestly, when they switched to the gold, but they kept the Navy helmets, I like that balance myself, just as the look. They've since gone to the gold helmets. They still wear the Navy shorts, pants, they call them in hockey. So gold still jumps out at you. But I thought the balance of the gold jersey with the Navy helmet, I thought was a really good look. Maybe my favorite.
I did not like the Stanley Cup final era Predators jersey. Too busy. Too much piping. Too many random stripes. The current look is much, much cleaner. I understand Matthew's point that, hey, it's a lot of gold. Hey, that's the Predators thing, right? But it's a much cleaner look. There was just too much random piping and it was too busy. The jersey the Predators wore when they went to the Stanley Cup final, that era, before the recent change. I did not love those jerseys.
Most of the jerseys, though, since they went to the gold jersey, it's only subtle, the differences, right? It's basically the same jersey as it's always been. But you're right. The little details will change. Sometimes the company that makes the jerseys has changed over the years.
Yes.
So they put their little accent on there. I have to go back and look because I can't picture what you're talking about.
I will
in
show
terms
you
of how different it is
during the
today.
break.
But you're right.
One texter says the new logo and color scheme for the Titans is perfect as an alternate combo to bridge the gap between the Titans' growing legacy and Oilers' history. Perfect to not have to keep bringing the Oilers logo back out. Totally changing the Titans brand to essentially being the Oilers is going too far. This is definitely Amy's team. The city and fans are not in the picture.
What do you guys think of this? There are a couple of teams, and I can think of 2 off the top of my head. There may be more. But the Carolina Hurricanes and the Colorado Avalanche, who had teams that moved from other teams. And it was kind of like the Oilers moving to Tennessee. It was not pretty, right? It was jilting your old town, breaking all those fans' hearts.
Exactly.
And then coming to a new place. Well, the Hurricanes, now see, the difference though is a lot of times the owner is different, right? I can't remember if that's the case with the Avalanche. But what they've done occasionally is wear the team's uniforms from the past. The Hurricanes wore the Hartford Whalers uniform. It's a really cool uniform, very distinct. But I've always wondered how their fans feel about that. And the Avalanche have worn the Quebec Nordiques jerseys, another really cool looking jersey, is a throwback, but completely different colors, completely different look, completely different era. But I guess that's somewhat similar to the Titans wearing the Oilers throwback on occasion.
Yeah, you want to pay respect to it, so you would make it an alternate jersey, or you wear it once a year, whatnot. But I look at like a city, like a franchise like the Rams. No matter where the Rams have been, whether it was St. Louis, LA, back to St. Louis, or back to LA and then move around, they've always kept their colors. Like the color scheme has always remained the same with the Rams everywhere they went. The gold and that, I don't know what color blue that is. Yeah. Royal blue. Those colors have always, it went with the team. Had the Titans started out that way and just kept the powder blue as the prominent color and the dominant color, then I don't think it wouldn't be anything, because they wouldn't have had the team. But they started a whole new color pattern, and said, this is the two-tone blue. This is Titans. That's sort of the problem, or the issue that I have. If you were to stay with the Houston blue or baby blue, whatever you want to call it, if you stay with that light blue, Titan blue now, if you stayed with that and made that the dominant color, I think everybody would have been cool with it. But you gave the city their own color. You gave the state its own color representation, meaning the two-tone blue, and now you want to sort of get rid of it.
615-737-1025. We will continue to take your thoughts on the Titans reported redesign. 615-737-1025. But coming up next, a messy story just crossed my timeline in Major League Baseball. Yikes. We'll discuss that next. 615-737-1025. Register today for Stars Trivia Night at Boomba's in East Nashville this Thursday night.
It's coming up.
Featuring Willie Donick. It will be a night full of fun, food, and prizes, all while supporting Stars Nashville, a nonprofit providing free mental health support for students in over 200 schools across Middle Tennessee. For more details and to learn how to register, visit theGameNashville.com/events. Yes, Willie?
Just a real quick note on that. If you don't have a team, it's $100 for a team, and you get a free appetizer. It'll be well worth your time. You'll get some really good prizes. We're going to have fun. So there's 4 people per team. But if you just want to show up on your own, we'll put you on a team. So that's, I think, $20, $25, something like that per person. But it's all going to Stars. So just show up to Boomba's, even if you don't have a team. We'd love to see you.
So for more details and how to register, visit theGameNashville.com/events.
All right, let's talk F&M Bank. Banking made easy on purpose. I won't flex. Yes, I will. That I went 4-0 last week in our Take It to the Bank segment, which we do every Friday at 5:45. But this is about F&M Bank. We certainly enjoy our partnership with them, their sponsorship of our show here on DVD, because they're doing great work in our listening area. 20 locations. You can find the nearest one to you at myfmbank.com. And so not only do they have one right on West End Avenue in your backyard, but they're out in Murfreesboro. They're in Mount Juliet. They're in Springfield. They're up in Kentucky, in Hopkinsville. They're over in Clarksville with 6 locations over there. They've got a community connection to somewhere close to where you live. So call or find them on the web at myfmbank.com and tell them we sent you. They do great work. Banking made easy on purpose. They want to take the burden off of your financial needs, take the stress out of there, and make financial life a little bit easier. We take it to the bank every Friday at 5:45. It's F&M Bank, member FDIC.
D Mace, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. This story just crossed my timeline from Jeff Passan and Don Van Natta Jr. at ESPN.com. Major League Baseball Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark resigned amid a federal investigation Tuesday, leaving the union without its longtime leader less than a year before the expiration of Major League Baseball's collective bargaining agreement, sources told ESPN. Sources also told ESPN that Clark resigned after an internal investigation revealed he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, who had been hired by the union in 2023.
His sister-in-law had been hired by the union?
I think you're missing the inappropriate relationship.
So that's where the relationship formed, is what you're saying.
Yes, an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law.
Oh, man.
Yikes.
I would say that's inappropriate.
Yeah, that's truly inappropriate.
Yes.
Man.
Well, this...
how do you talk? Like, what are the family dinners like?
I'd say I wouldn't want to go Thanksgiving time. They'd be a little frosty.
Man, whew. Man.
I think this is a big story, though, in that what you said, we've been hitting this with spring training going, the labor issue is coming up in a year. This is the last year of peace, and they've got to address the big elephant in the room. And it's been brewing for a while. The owners would like some form of a salary cap. The players have been adamant, no salary cap. And I do think the players need to expand their mind a little bit and wrap their arms around the fact that the players can be successful with a salary cap. It doesn't have to be super strict. You negotiate for the best one, but for competitive balance, I think it would be good. So I'm curious where the new leadership comes from for the Players Association. I've never viewed Tony Clark as a great leader for the players. I don't know how he was a very good player himself. So that I'm sure helped him get to where he was. In the past, the players leader has been somebody like Marvin Miller or Donald Fear, guys that were not players. So I'm curious to see who ends up being the lead guy for the players now, because it's going to be a huge negotiation.
Tony Clark resigned as Major League Baseball Players Association executive director, in part because he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law.
Tricky one to get out of.
Don't poop where you eat. Don't poop where you eat.
Well, I mean, you can, but a separate bathroom. Go on. You can be
now you're getting philosophical on me, Derek Mason.
I'm messing with you, but you're absolutely right. Again, family dinners, anyone?
Now, if Tony Clark were to, and I assume this is going to happen, divorce his current wife and marry the sister-in-law, does the ex-wife become the sister-in-law?
This is where it gets very messy, and we don't really want to know. I don't know.
Tough times in the Clark family. Let's go to Frankie on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Frankie, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was just wanting to put in my 2 cents worth on the uniform change and
Sure.
colors. I totally agree with Derek. I don't think they should get rid of the dark blue. I love it. And I also love the flames. And that's just my 2 cents worth. I'd like to hang up and see what you guys have to say.
Thank you, Frankie.
He wants to stay true.
He wants to stay true to, the old logo and in Jersey. As far as the logo, the flame, I think there could be room for an update to the flame. Not necessarily taking the flame away, or at least having the flames a patch somewhere on the jersey, but not totally going away from the flame. But the color scheme, I just, I think if indeed it is as, has been leaked, then I think they've done, it's the players that played in that jersey. It's almost like we just gonna kind of push them back.
Have you spoken to any of your former
No,
teammates?
I haven't. But I plan on reaching out to a few of them and see what they have to say. Some may like it, because it's not like no one liked the Oiler blue. Everybody loved the Oiler blue. I love the Oiler blue. But to just go completely away from the Navy blue, I think that's where it's like, okay, come on.
I like the Oiler blue with the Navy blue. I think it's a good combo, which isn't overused around sports. So therefore, I think it's pretty distinct. Like the Winnipeg Jets, if you could have Titans uniforms for hockey, the Winnipeg Jets is kind of the color scheme, right? A little touch of red, but really the 2 blue colors. I think it's a good look in general. And this is just me. I like it better than the light blue with red. I think the dark blue contrasts the light blue better. This is just me, and I have never been accused of being a fashion dude.
Well, take me back.
But I think I know a good uniform when I see it.
I trust your opinion. Take me back to when the newly rechristened Tennessee Titans unveiled their uniforms in the late 90s. What was the reaction to the uniforms when they changed from the Oilers?
It's a good question.
I think from a player standpoint, it was something that you had to get used to. It wasn't like,
I don't think it was an overnight. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we love it.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we got used to as a team, because some of these guys had worn, not many of them, but some of these guys had worn, the Love You Blue for a while, like Bruce Matthews, guys like that, and guys that sort of came over from those older days. Now, when we changed uniforms, I think a lot of those guys were gone, with the exception. It may have been 2 or 3 guys: Eddie Robinson, Bruce, and then mate Chris, Eddie, Steve. So there were a handful of guys that wore that jersey for more like that combination in Houston for a season or two. But when we unveiled the two-tone blue, that was for the guys in it moving forward, those guys that they drafted. But everybody had to get used to it,
And those first ones really didn't have a lot of the light blue, the Columbia blue, whatever you want to call it.
On top of the shoulders.
It was more of an accent, and there was only just a little touch of red. It was much more navy blue and white that were predominant. Because remember, you guys didn't didn't even mix in the alternate jersey with the light blue for a few years. The first couple years, when you guys went to the Super Bowl, it was navy with white pants at home, with the white helmet, which I thought was a really good look. And then I love the road one too, with the white helmet, white jersey, navy numbers with the light blue trim, and the navy pants. I thought that was a good look.
I mean,
solid. And then you started interspersing the light blue pants and light blue jersey started to come along later.
By then, I think a lot of that happened after 2004.
Right.
A lot, when they really started sort of using the alternate jerseys and stuff like that. But we did wear them for the first 2 years, but we were the Tennessee Oilers and then changed the name, obviously.
One texter says, as a fellow who grew up with the two-tone blue Titans, those uniforms are what I associate with the Titans. I think the Oilers look is great for a throwback. I feel like these new uniforms are not the Titans I grew up with.
Yes.
Brian says, I understand why people are not a big fan of the color change. However, I like it because it sets us apart. You have multiple teams with the dark blue, and as far as I know, there's nobody with the light blue as their primary color. I'm also glad to see the Flames go. It was time for an update on that. Matt in Nashville says, is it his wife's sister or his brother's wife? Both would be a sister-in-law. Do we even know? This is blowing my mind.
I don't know.
That about Tony Clark.
Don't know.
No, we have no idea.
We don't know. But the Carolina Panthers, their predominant color, I believe, is the light blue.
I think
it's more of a teal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's black. I feel like their primary color is black. They have that blue on the shoulders.
I'm trying to think.
Is it teal or is it blue? I guess it is blue.
It's blue. But I associate the Carolina Panthers with black. I think they've got black with blue accents.
Yeah, but those are the two colors. But it is black and not navy.
Yes.
Right?
But the Panthers, I think, have an alternate uniform with that blue.
Yes.
But it is not their primary uniform.
Yeah, it's changed, I'm sure, over the years,
yes,
how much they fluctuate with the two, and that's fine.
Quickly, let's go to T-Mac from the Borough on our phone line. T-Mac, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to make 2 comments, and then I want to ask y'all a question.
Sure.
And see what y'all think. The first comment, I think y'all was talking about states that the teams share the same colors. I'm thinking about the DC United, the soccer team, and then the DC Defenders, that United Football League team. They both share their red and white from the DC flag. And then as far as Tennessee is concerned, I think the Grizzlies, the Titans, and the Preds, they do share something. They do share that navy, and then the two-tone blue. I know the Titans and the Grizzlies share that, but then the Grizzlies and the Preds both share that navy and the yellow. And then I want to ask you guys, the question I want to ask you guys is, in the NFL, which franchise uniform do you think is absolutely timeless and they would never get an upgrade? In my opinion, I think it's the Raiders. I think it's something about that black and silver. They never in 100 years need another uniform. And I want to ask what you guys think.
Thank you, T-Mac.
That's a good one.
Thank you. It is. Raiders. I would say the Cowboys. They're in a. I know they've sort of redid the star a little bit and made it. But I think like that color is associated with the Dallas Cowboys. When you see that color, that you associate it immediately the star with the Dallas Cowboys, the Oakland Raiders, the
Steelers,
Packers. Yeah,
I like the ones that know they've got something good
and they keep
they stay with it. I like that.
One texter says the new logo reminds me of the Cracker Barrel debacle. Oversimplifying. Did Amy not hear about how that went? Yes, there was Uncle Herschel erasure for just a minute. Y'all didn't even know his name was Uncle Herschel until he was gone. But the backlash was so severe that Uncle Herschel is back. So for all of you Cracker Barrel fans out there, especially you, Robbie Stanley, see, if you complain enough, maybe the Titans won't change it at all. So just keep complaining as loud as you possibly can.
They're going to get used to it. And I will listen, and I'm going to get used to it. And I'm going to, root for the team. I may not, there will always be, if indeed the blue's not in there, the dark blue, the navy blue, if it's not in there, then I'm always, sort of feel some type of way. But hey, I'm going to always love the team.
615-737-1025. All right, let's talk about the people who wear or could wear the new Titans uniforms. We've got like 2 months until the draft. Oh, God. But there is a question that we are going to attempt to answer about how the Titans should proceed at number 4. And I heard an ESPN analyst offer a suggestion for the Titans that I think is interesting. We'll discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Darnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. We hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday. Trevor Maddich, ESPN analyst, will join us in roughly 20 minutes. Predators GM Barry Trotz will join us at 5 o'clock. Quick score update in the men's Olympic hockey tournament. Sweden leads Latvia 3-1 early in the third period. Philip Forsberg scored the third goal for Sweden. If this score holds, Sweden will take on Team USA tomorrow afternoon. That will be one hell of a game.
Not an easy quarter at all.
No.
Sweden somehow in this deal is the 7th seed, and they are not the 7th best team. They're arguably the 3rd best team in the tournament, but they are seeded 7th, which is not good for the USA, who draws them in the quarterfinal. In my opinion.
It will be a tough matchup, and we will certainly be watching tomorrow. It will be on during our program. By the way, tomorrow we will be live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs from 3 to 6 ahead of Smashville Live, featuring Willie Donick, Max Hers, and Barry Trotz. So come on out a little bit earlier and see us at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. We're fun, mostly.
Absolutely.
I did see quickly before we get to the NFL draft. By the way, there are still more than 2 months before the NFL draft.
Yeah, so we got time. We do have time.
Yes.
Oh, God. I walked into the break room during the break, and there was a sticker on the refrigerator that said, free chicken. That chicken can't be good, right?
Are they saying free the chicken or free chicken? No, I'm just playing.
I opened the fridge, and there was on the actual chicken a sticky note that said free chicken. That chicken cannot still be good, right?
Not like free range.
No.
Yeah.
Like
free.
Take it.
So how long do you think it's been there?
I mean, Derek, there was pizza that you ate like 2 weeks ago that's still in that fridge.
Wow.
I had to throw it away.
Wow.
This gets back to a very important issue of office behavior, is leaving the stuff in the fridge. You don't want to be that guy.
Don't want to be that guy.
Free chicken. Usually I'm like, don't mind if I do. Then I open the fridge. Ugh.
Can we document when the chicken was put in there?
We
When
don't
the note
know.
was put there?
I don't know. I did not check the expiration.
I didn't see it
It's a key
yesterday.
It's a key component.
Oh, if David didn't see it yesterday, so they must have left it today.
Free chicken.
But when did they get it?
Do we think 24 hours is reasonable
I think so.
for free chicken?
If I ain't cook it, I ain't
Depends on the
taking it.
chicken. It depends on the chicken.
That's
yeah,
where
that is
that's
true.
where it
That's-
stopped with me. I don't care if I ain't cook, if I don't know who cooked
Even if it really looks good?
if I don't know who cooked it, I'm not eating it.
That also depends how hungry you are at the time, probably. How desperate you
I
are.
will eat a chip, just one single potato chip, before I eat somebody. Well, I don't know whose food it
Look,
is.
desperate times call for desperate measures. I will admit something to all of you right now.
Oh boy.
About 2-3 weeks ago, the Monday right after the ice storm, I came in here to do the show with Parker Kelly. Y'all were unavailable, understandable. And I was starving. So I went to the McDonald's down the road here on Murfreesboro Pike. And people were in the drive-thru, but the drive-thru wasn't moving. So I gave up because I had to come in here. And David Janes, who was here for like 4 days.
So you were shut out. You did not get the fresh
I did not get
McDonald's.
fresh McDonald's. But David Janes, who was here for like 4 days during the ice storm,
I had a lot of food.
he had a lot of food. There were Egg McMuffins or McGriddles or something
Oh no.
that were in the break
Oh,
room that
no.
had to be at least a day old. And I was so hungry I ate one.
They were 2 days old.
Now, did
2?
2 days old.
See,
That's where I
why
draw
you-
the line.
That's where.
Two.
That's why you don't need to be putting your lips on nobody's food.
But they were free.
I
They
don't
were
care if
free.
it is
I
free.
was
Now-
desperate.
Do you in that situation?
Yes.
Because I've been there. Did you heat it up?
No.
Did you nuke it? I don't know why. I feel better if I nuke it. It's like,
yeah, maybe
what
kill
the heck?
some of the
Who cares?
germs.
Just kill whatever's in
Room
there.
temp, baby.
It'll
Room
be
temp.
edible. You just took it and
2 days,
scarfed
room
it.
temp cheese and eggs. Ooh,
I didn't say I was proud of it.
And I don't even know if those are really eggs.
But you know what, Derek?
yes,
I needed that for
I
fuel
get it. I
to
get
do
it.
this show.
and
for
damn
all
it,
of
you
you.
did it.
I make sacrifices. I eat day old or 2 day old McDonald's for all of you.
Thank you.
So
we appreciate you.
Yeah, take that.
You're a real hero.
I am. I really am.
This was my situation
Adam,
with the power out in my
An
house
American hero.
for as long as it was. I had some items in my fridge that had been in there for a while. The power was out. But, of course, with the temperature in Nashville being 8 degrees or whatever, and my house being outside temperature, I felt like I made some calls of, is this still good? Let's try it. So far, I'm still standing.
Ice storms will make people do.
So you kept the
crazy thing.
There was like a yogurt,
the
yogurt. It's kind of like, did it
meat? I hope you threw the meat out. Because once the meat unthaw and you try to you can't do it.
I did play it safe with the meat.
Okay,
I did say it, but I examined it. I thought about it. I was thinking, let's not chance that.
All right. Well,
maybe it's good.
I feel like other people can feel me on that. They were in that same situation.
I'm sure they
You don't want to just throw all the stuff out.
You're right.
Dustin says I have an iron stomach. I don't know about that, but I did survive the day-old or 2-day-old McDonald's. And again, I did it for all of you. I would have risked my health to do the show for all of you. And that's what we're doing right now. So the NFL draft, as I said, more than 2 months away. Ugh. But we're going to have to talk about it because that's what we have to look forward to when your team is as bad as the Tennessee Titans. And one of the major questions the Titans are going to have to ask themselves as they prepare for the NFL draft, what should they do at number 4? Should they take one of these highly touted pass rushers, such as Reuben Bain or Arvell Reese or David Bailey, or should they target another position? So I was listening to Field Yates, Mel Kiper Jr., and Jason Reed on ESPN talk about what the Titans should do at number 4. And Field Yates and Mel Kiper, in their latest mock drafts, have the Titans taking David Bailey out of Texas Tech. I think a lot of Titans fans would be pleased with that selection. The Titans certainly could use help rushing the passer. But then Jason Reed had a different idea. It reminded me of something that Derek Mason said recently. Jason Reed suggested Carnell Tate, and here's why.
Well, I think the inverse, Mel. I want to see them surround Cam Ward with as many weapons as possible. We still have to figure out how good this guy is, somebody we invested the number 1 overall pick in last year. So why not go ahead and take Carnell Tate at number 4 overall, especially in the draft that doesn't have those high-end players at the top of the draft. Let's go ahead and get our true wide receiver 1 for our quarterback we drafted at the top of the draft last year. And I think they should copy the blueprint that the Carolina Panthers had last year. Go ahead and take the best receiver in the draft and potentially double dip on day 2, like they did with Nick Gordon and also Princely Umamielon last year. I believe the Tennessee Titans are in a similar position as that, and I think they should try to execute that similar type of game plan.
So Jason Reed of ESPN is suggesting that the Tennessee Titans, 1, draft Carnell Tate with the number 4 overall pick, the wide receiver from Ohio State. And by doing so, they should replicate what the Carolina Panthers did last season when they took Ted McMillan at number 8 overall and selected 2 edge rushers, 1 in round 2 and 1 in round 3. And Derek, it reminded me of what you've been saying about why Ted McMillan was so important to Bryce Young. You want to find a number 1 caliber receiver who's roughly the same age as your potential franchise quarterback, and the 2 of them can grow together. So what do you think of Jason Reed's idea of drafting Carnell Tate at number 4 to build off of or replicate the plan that the Panthers did last season with Bryce Young and Ted McMillan?
I think it was key, with Carolina, because they had to, Bryce Young going on his 3rd year. They had to figure out whether this young man is their future. They knew he had some limitations, and his limitations was his height and him seeing over the offensive line. But if you're just talking about an all-around player, he's a damn good player. So they went out and they got a guy that can minimize the errors. Maybe he doesn't have to throw a perfect ball every time. Why? Because Ted is 6'4", 6'5", wingspan, probably about 7 feet, a little bit over that. A guy that has a huge catch radius. So you go out, and then what happens? Your quarterback becomes better. It seems like he becomes more accurate. It's not that he's necessarily more accurate. It's just the margin of error has gotten a lot bigger, has gotten a lot wider. Now, those throws he were making to the guys that were 6 foot, 5'11", 5'10", and they were off a little bit. Now they're hitting because now he has a bigger catch radius to throw to. And he's able to grow with this young man. They're able to, learn one another, build a chemistry. And it seems like they're building that chemistry really well, even in Tet's first year. And that's what I want to see with the Titans. I want to see the Titans draft someone that Cam Ward can grow with, a guy that Cam doesn't have to be perfect all the time, a guy that's 6'5", that runs routes like a 6 foot or a 5 or somebody below 5 feet, a guy that is one of the best at combat catches, a guy that has speed to get down the field. He is a big play guy. That would boost your offense tremendously. Now, the guys on the other side, they got something to worry about. And that makes everything else, now as a play caller, it gets a little bit easier now. Because now I got a bona fide guy that is going to attract some attention. And now the Gunnar Helms or the Alec Almanners or the DKs, now they start getting more and more opportunities. Now they're able to grow. Why? Because I got a bona fide number one that he's going to get his, but he allows everyone else to get open, because now you can call certain things because you got basically a coverage buster.
I have one question. If I'm Mike Borgonzi, I would be asking this question to my scouts. Carnell Tate has been playing on the Ohio State team with an absolutely loaded roster. And, of course, we know that Jeremiah Smith is probably the most talented in a group of talented guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the case for a couple years. Like Ibuka was on there, right, last year, and Jeremiah Smith was on that team. So, and Carnell Tate was on that team. I mean, how many awesome guys can you have on one team? So my question for my scouts would be, could I take Tate at 4, put him at my number 1 wide receiver spot, where he will clearly be the guy with the highest expectations, the guy that probably has the best talent, and the other guys will be probably in the role that they're supposed to be in, DK and Io Manor and those guys. Can Tate do that when he's not surrounded by the same amount of guys? So I would want to know, does he rate that high in my grading system, especially relative to the edge rushers that we're talking about? Because I think when you listen to some guys, they think the edge rushers might be more talented with the ceiling, even though Tate has an obvious fit for need.
Here is a scouting report of Carnell Tate, part of a scouting report of Carnell Tate from The Ringer. Quote, he brings the gazelle-like speed to beat defenders over the top. It was a big play threat for Ohio State, averaging 17.5 yards per reception last year. He brings stick-'em-equipped hands and notched 0 drops on 58 targets in 2025. More than that, he has an uncommon catching ability. With canny, unflappable concentration and excellent body control, he regularly goes up high to snag passes in traffic, showing T. Higgins-type ball skills. He reeled in 12 of 14 contested catches last season and went 22 of 32 in his college career per PFF. He can line up all across the formation.
All right, so let me ask you about the who he's facing, though, for all those catches, D-Mace. If you're on a team and you've got Ibuka and you've got Jeremiah Smith or some combination of these guys, is he getting the tough match? He's going to get. Oh, he's going to get a higher grade of a defender at the next level, right? Is that a big thing for you?
No, because because it's not like Jeremiah Smith was just on one side of the field and Carnell Tate was on the other side. Every play, that one played to the left, one played to the right. So we know how to line up. And in college, they're not moving the corners or anything else. They may sort of shift the defense, but this guy has operated like a number 1 receiver. Teams have tried to take him out of the game. Like, seriously, the problem with Ohio State, is because they got 3 guys. They typically have 3 guys that can just flat out play. So one game you may try to take away this guy, another game you may try to take away. You can't always just single up on one guy and say we're going to take him out, because eventually we're going to scheme it where these guys get open. What that report didn't mention, he can run every route in the route tree, every route. He can line up inside, outside. He's a big play guy. He can get you the dirty yards, combat. He does everything that you would ask a number one wide receiver to do. The Titans shouldn't make a mistake, because over the last 10 years, look at Ohio State wide receivers. Just look at them.
They've done pretty well.
They've proven that no matter where you draft them, and typically they got drafted high, they were going to come and produce in the NFL. And
it's been pretty
they're
impressive.
the top. They're a part of a young nucleus they're at the top of their game. They're like one or two as or in top five as far as young wide receivers. So it's not like, well, we don't know what we're going to get when we get Ohio State running back. I mean, wide receiver, because some universities, the players come out, and I'm like, they hadn't shown they were great in college, but every time they came to the NFL, it hadn't worked out. Ohio State has produced wide receiver after wide receiver after wide receiver. So I'm hedging my bets on Carnell Tate by year 2 being a 1,300 yard receiver.
All right, now,
go ahead.
This is another part of the argument that I think we're going to hear a lot, and that is Tate that much better than the wide receivers that are, a lot of people say, going to be available in rounds 2 and 3? It supposedly is a pretty deep. I hear a lot of people say, take the edge rusher first, because you can get the wide receiver in the second, in the third. Maybe if you can come up with a second round pick somewhere in there, you could even try to go at it that way. As opposed to vice versa, taking Tate and then trying to get the edge rusher in the second or third. I hear a lot of experts saying you're going to come out ahead if you take the elite edge rusher first. Those guys are harder to find. You can find the receiver in the second. What about that theory?
I think if you got a good player, if you got a guy on the offense, because this is where this thing is going, and you got a young quarterback. If you have a guy that you believe is a game changer, you draft him, whether he's a D-line or a wide receiver. In this case, this team has no number one flat-out wide receiver. This would be Dabo's Malik Neighbors. That's what it would be.
Okay. That is an argument to match the guy with your young quarterback.
615-737-1025. ESPN's Jason Reed, draft analyst, suggests that the Titans follow the Panthers' plan from last season when the Panthers drafted Ted McMillan at number 8 overall for Bryce Young. Ted McMillan, by the way, the offensive rookie of the year, had a fabulous season, 70 catches, 1,014 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Your thoughts on Reed's thoughts? 615-737-1025. We'll get Trevor Madich's thoughts. Spoke too fast there. Coming up next, 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Hey, this is Derek Mason. If you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. But Law Tigers fights to get you the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. Look, they understand how much your bike gear is worth to you and what it means to you. So they will help you get it all repaired, or better yet, replaced. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Houston. You can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Ave South. And don't forget, Go to predatorsbike.com to enter to win a custom Nashville Predator Indian motorcycle signed by the entire team, courtesy of Law Tigers and Music City Indian. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
D Mace, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and bring in our friend Trevor Maddich, who is brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. So, Trevor, we were just talking about what the Titans should do at number 4. ESPN's Jason Reed suggested that the Titans follow the Carolina Panthers plan from last season when they drafted Ted McMillan at number 8 overall for Bryce Young. So let's assume for a moment that the Titans do that. If the Titans pass on a pass rusher at number 4, are there pass rushers who project to be available at the top of the second round who can make an impact?
Yeah, I think there would be. The thing is, this is a deep draft in wide receivers and offensive tackles, and by the way, edge rushers. The difference is, though, you've got good edge rushers that are different from elite edge rushers. And it's those elite guys that can take over a game by themselves that you really want to have. A guy like Ted Hendrickson of Cincinnati, that kind of a guy. And I don't think in the second round you can be assured of getting one of those guys. I think you can get a good rotational edge rusher that you can put in there opposite Jeff Simmons and have him give you 100% effort like a hockey line rotating in. You could start to do that. But after the first round, I think you're really the top half of the first round. You're probably going to have a diminished ability to take over a game with one edge rusher. Now, having said that, if Akeem Messidor, who played opposite Ruben Bain at Miami, if he's available in the second round, I think you've got a chance of having a guy that can, if not take over a game, certainly be very impactful. Messidor has a lot of the same qualities as Ruben Bain in terms of his toolbox of moves that he can throw on you. He's not a one-trick pony. He have a lot of different primary moves, a lot of different counters off of those moves, and it creates nightmares for offensive linemen trying to block him. And he can move from left to right on the end. He can move inside in passing situations over the guards, even over the center. And the reason he might drop is that he's a little bit older. I think he's like 25. He'll be 25 next season. So a guy like that you could target as an edge rusher in the second round. But if you're thinking you'll just have a pretty good player instead of an elite game wrecker, you're better off taking that edge rusher with the fourth pick.
Trevor, I'm stealing Willie's thunder here, but we were just discussing Carnell Tate, and Willie brought up the Jeremiah Smith factor. So how much of Carnell Tate's success at Ohio State this past season was based on Smith also having the attention of opposing defenders?
That was part of it, because if you were going to roll coverage to one guy, it was always going to be Smith, and he caught the ball anyway. Tate is a different player than Smith. Smith was a physical, or is a physical beast. I mean, he could play linebacker, I think, with a couple extra biscuits at pregame meal. Whereas Carnell Tate is not that kind of a guy. He's got more of a slight frame. He's got kind of a long waist. He is an elite route runner. And that's where I think he has a chance to be an impact player for the Titans, in that he can get open in a lot of different ways other than just be faster or stronger or bigger than anyone. He can get open because he knows how to get open with the techniques, with the tools of a great wide receiver. But at the same time, I think that had Jeremiah Smith not been there, I think you would have seen a higher volume go towards Tate. I think you would have seen him be even more highly regarded than he is. And while I think he had advantages because coverages were rotated towards Tate, I don't think it takes anything away from his ability overall to be an outstanding impact receiver.
Now, Trevor, can you see the Titans, because can you see them doing this? Because everyone's looking for them or wanting them to get an edge rusher. And I understand why, because they didn't have that guy this season. But do you think now adding Robert Saleh and what he's been known for as far as his edge guys, or his guys getting to the pass rusher, the passer, do you look at a guy like Femi that they may look at him as being there? Okay, instead of drafting a guy in the first round at that position, Saleh can work with Femi and developing him into the player that the Titans hoped he would be and still can be.
You know what, Derek, I think Femi would be one of those rotational guys. Mm-hmm. At best, I don't see him developing into an elite pass rusher. I think he's got a good, quick first step, but I think he's a little stiff. And I don't think right now he has the repertoire of pass rush moves. I mean, his last year at UCLA was really his first year as an edge rusher. He was an off-ball linebacker other than that. And he's shown a lot of athletic skill to be able to go from off-ball linebacker to edge rusher, and now probably put his hand in the ground to be a 4-3 defensive end. You know, he's shown a lot of raw capability, but to rush the passer in the NFL, you can't just be quick. You can't just be strong. You have to be savvy. You have to have experience. You have to have anticipation. And these are all things that Femi has not had a chance to demonstrate that he can get onto the field just yet, because he's moved around in different positions. So I would not count on him as being that guy. I would hope that he could develop into one of those complementary pieces, that can come in and still give you good effort pass rushes as he develops his skills. But I think it would be a mistake to say, let's not draft an edge rusher because we think we can develop Femi. Make him prove it first.
We'll talk with Trevor Maddich. Trevor, obviously, the big thing is the jersey change, the rebrand of the Tennessee Titans, which looks more to me like the Houston Oilers. But what are your thoughts? I will tell you my thoughts after you're done, but what are your thoughts on this?
You know what, Derek, my thought is that from a standpoint of the fans, I know players that played in those uniforms and those colors, it matters a lot more than fans. I think fans have a different view of it. But from a fan standpoint, they will have an emotional connection to whatever uniforms the Titans are wearing when the Titans start making Super Bowl runs and even win a Super Bowl. And that's about it. I mean, when you look at the Patriots, for example, their original uniforms had the Patriot guy on the helmet as a center, and he had the ball. He was about to snap the ball, and he had a scowl on his face, and they had 3 lines, 3 stripes on the helmet, and 3 stripes on each shoulder. It was the most fearsome-looking uniform coming right at you of any in the NFL. And then they changed to what we have now. And, I mean, bless their hearts, but I think the current Patriot guy looks like Elvis Goes to Space Camp. You know, I just don't see that as being a fierce kind of a – but then Tom Brady went and won 6 Super Bowls with that logo. So now it is fearsome. Now it is great, but you had to do that in order to get it done. I mean, look at Washington, right? You know, they were the Redskins until that didn't work, and then they were the Washington football team, and now they're the Commander. They always kept the burgundy and gold because the fans connected to that. But the Commanders, nobody's excited about the name Commanders, and they won't be until they get to the Super Bowl with the name Commanders. Then the word name Commanders will be awesome. And we look at colors. I just want to throw this out there. The Eagles, you know, I played for Washington, so you know what I think about the Eagles. But what on an eagle is green? Seriously. If the eagle isn't nauseous, what on him is green? The Eagles' colors should be gold, black, and white. That would be fantastic. But then they went and won the Super Bowl in that awful green color. So now they got to keep it because there's an emotional connection. And that brings us back to the Titans. I think that from a fan standpoint, you know, I think that they'll like one thing or the other, but I think the emotional connection will be with whatever they're wearing whenever they get back to the Super Bowl.
And that is my issue right there. And I hand it off to Willie, is that when this team unveiled those two-tone blue, that was a Nashville, state of Tennessee color. That was their team. That team went to the Super Bowl. That was some of their greatest years were in that jersey. So I'm not discounting the blue that they have, or the light blue, the Tennessee blue, but to go away from potentially the navy blue, which we went to the Super Bowl in, I think that part I'm sort of, you know, a little bit upset about that. You go completely away from the blue, and now more or less you look like the Houston Oilers.
Yeah,
and the Houston Oilers didn't. Last I checked, when they made it to the end, when they merged, they didn't make it to a Super Bowl. But I'm not discounting the color.
And even had the Cleveland Browns, by the way, as the Cleveland Browns. But when they're wearing their brown jerseys and their orange helmets and they come out of the tunnel, it looks like you're being attacked by a pumpkin patch. It's like, what?
I like their colors, man.
But it's iconic, though. It's
exactly.
Distinctive. You know it's
iconic. Absolutely.
Because they've stuck with it.
You're right. You're right about that. I'm going to ask you this, though, Derek, just as devil's advocate. Tell me the difference between Tennessee blue and Carolina blue.
I don't know.
Yeah, or Columbia blue.
Or Columbia.
It's light
really
blue. It's
Carolina
blue.
blue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Trevor, I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Carolina blue is gross, by the way.
Yeah, well, in the NFL, the team that wins the Super Bowl first between the Panthers and the Titans gets to claim it. That's it.
Exactly. There you go.
Just call it something else.
Trevor Maddich is with us. So Trevor, here's a philosophical question, and maybe you can apply it to this draft because I'm sure different years you might have a different answer. But drafting the edge rusher in this group and then the receiver early in the second round as opposed to vice versa, which one do you think you come out ahead with? Because I've heard the argument made both ways.
Yeah, well, I think you come out ahead, assuming similar grade. If you've got a receiver and an edge rusher, your top receiver, your top edge rusher, and one's higher than the other, clearly you take the one that's higher, just because you want to get as much playmaking talent when you're drafting at number 4 as you possibly can. You do not want to draft for need, right? You want to draft for, but that's part of the deal when you're in the top 5. You need to have a guy that is a game changer. That kind of a guy when you're that high. You don't want a rotational piece, complementary piece when you're drafting that high. You don't want a quality starter at number 4. You want an all-pro caliber performer when you're drafting that high. And I think it's easier to find wide receivers than it is to find game-wrecking edge rushers. So if you've got an edge rusher and a receiver that are similar, I think I would go with the edge rusher. And I think part of that too, guys, we've talked about this before, but I think we have a recent example of how edge rushers and defense, pass rushers in general, can help the quarterback. In the Super Bowl, the Seattle Seahawks, the quarterback, Sam Darnold, didn't do a whole lot, drove them down for field goals in the first 3 quarters, but he didn't have to do a whole lot because his defense held the Patriots in check, shut them out, right? On the other side, Patriots quarterback Drake May didn't really do anything, but he didn't have to do anything until later in the second half because the Patriots defense kept the Seahawks out of the end zone. But the difference was as the game wore on into the fourth quarter, the Patriots were starting to run out of clock, and all of a sudden, Drake May did have to do stuff. He did have to press. He started making big mistakes that allowed the Seahawks to run away with it. The point is that for the first 2.5 to 3 quarters, elite defenses were able to help their quarterback by not letting the other team run away with it. And so if you get an edge rusher that's worthy of the 4th pick, it does help Cam Ward. And plus, that's a guy, especially if it's a guy that is a defensive end rushing like Reuben Bain might be, you've got a guy that's out there rushing the passer every time the quarterback drops back to pass. So, these are reasons why I think that position, I am partial to it for this team if the guy that they pick is worthy of the pick.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to have these philosophical discussions a lot the next couple of months. Before we let you go, Trevor, the injunctions and the hearings and the players trying to squeeze that extra year of eligibility out to get the next payday. There's examples all across the country, not just in football. Do you think the NCAA could make a rule of an age limit across the board that would stand and just stop the madness? To me, that's probably the only way you could do it.
Yeah, well, if they made that rule, it would make sense to all of us looking at it, but it would also be challenged in court. And unless there is collective bargaining, the NCAA would lose. The NFL has an age minimum, right? Or how many years you've been out, your high school graduating class has been out of high school. And that was challenged by Maurice Clarett of Ohio State, remember back in the day? And he lost that court case, but the NFL has collective bargaining. And that's the difference. So right now, the NCAA, the best thing they can do is let the market work. And I kind of like the idea of what Diego Pavia was able to do, which is to say, don't count junior college against a 4-year school eligibility. Joey Aguilar of Tennessee is trying to get years back for that. And Diego Pavia got it back. So the question is, will Aguilar get it back? And right now, it's just a big old rip-roaring mess. But I don't see any way to impose anything from the top down that's restrictive. All you can do is remove restrictions, or else you're going to go to court and you're going to lose.
Trevor Matich has been our guest on D-Mace, Vengan, and Donick. He joins us every Tuesday, and he is brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trevor, as always, thank you for your insight. We'll catch up next week.
Thanks, Adam.
615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction to what Trevor Matich just had to say. But coming up next, Predators fans, I'm going to make you choose. You have to pledge your allegiance. Coming up next, 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Hey, this is Derek Mason. You heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a goal to shed some extra pounds only to face disappointment. But I got some good news because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
D-Mace, Vingen, and Donick 1025 the game. We'll see if it's a party in the USA tomorrow afternoon. Sweden advances in the men's Olympic hockey tournament. The Swedes versus the Americans. A roughly 2 p.m. Central puck drop tomorrow. Remember, Sweden beat Team USA in the Four Nations face-off 1 year ago today, actually. A 2-1 win for Sweden against Team USA.
There is an asterisk next to that because that was a win that had no effect on the American spot. So that was just for pride.
That is true, but
So
pride is still important.
This is for real.
And we will get into that matchup for sure.
Was that Miley Cyrus?
That was Miley
of course.
Cyrus.
Damn.
Who else would it be?
I was just asking. I like that song.
That's a
I
great
always
song.
like that song.
It's a great
We
song.
love to party in the USA here.
Yes. But tomorrow, Predators fans, before Sweden and Philip Forsberg take on Team USA, Switzerland takes on Finland. A roughly 11 a.m. Central puck drop. Switzerland won 3-0 earlier today against Italy to advance to take on Finland. Of course, Switzerland captained by Roman Josi, who has been outstanding in the Olympics. 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists in 4 games, averaging more than 22 minutes of ice time per game. So Roman Josi on one side, and on the other, UC Saros and Eric Haula. Saros had a rough start to his tournament, but has bounced back in a big way. A 2-1 record with a 1.34 goals against average and 946 save percentage, 70 saves on 74 shots across 3 games. Eric Haula, 3 assists in 3 games. He isn't playing much for the Finns, averages roughly 10.5 minutes of ice time. But tomorrow, Roman Josi on one side, UC Saros and Eric Haula on the other. Predators fans, pledge your allegiance. Who you got? And I'm not going to accept any of this Willie Donick unity and friendship bullcrap. I need you to pick somebody. Are you rooting for Roman Josi or are you rooting for UC Saros and Eric Haula? I need you to pick.
I'm rooting for Roman Josi
one.
and then rooting for UC Saros. When they're on the other end.
Lame.
That is a cop-out answer, Derek. Mason.
Loser.
I need you to pick one.
Oh, man.
The Finns will be favored, but Switzerland,
I'm going with my boy UC.
despite losing Kevin Fiala, still playing well. Willie Donick, I need you to pick one, man.
I mean, this is as tough as it gets here. These are the guys right here.
Yes.
These are
Come on,
the
man.
staple guys.
Yes.
Remember,
Come on,
they're
you-
listening.
They are listening right now
UC.
from
mean,
Milan.
Defending juice. You got it. Come on.
I know, and you know these guys are not just great players, but you know they've been here a long time. They are as good a guys as you're going to have. How can you root against one or the other?
Derek's pulling for the Finns, it sounds like.
Jeez.
UC.
He needs it. He needs it more.
Okay.
He needs it more. I think
let me-
he
That
needs
is
it
a
more.
that is a good question.
He
Derek
needs
Mason.
it more.
I
UC
think
Saros does need this more. I absolutely agree.
I think you can argue that. I think from a Predator standpoint, would you rather have Saros get the rest?
But does he need the confidence?
We talked about this, Willie, last week. I do think a big tournament for UC Saros can help the public perception among some Predators fans about his ability. I think if UC Saros can win another game, make things interesting, I think that could be more important than Roman Josi, because with Roman Josi, you know what you're getting. Roman Josi's been great in this tournament. He's been great for the Predators this season. He's been great for a long time. I think I agree with Derek. I think UC Saros needs this more than anybody. Predators wise.
And I think if they were to lose, as you mentioned, they are the favorites. I think it would probably sting more if Finland lost than if the Swiss lost. So, okay, you guys have sold me. I will lean Finland. And you got Eric Haula in there. He's a good guy. So it's 2 guys that you're rooting for as opposed to 1. Okay.
See, Craig
So
on
Roman Josi with a goal and an assist. Finland with a 5-2 win. Everybody's happy.
Okay, there we go.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Craig on our text line says, I'm going to go for Switzerland. I dislike Saros so much. He's stealing money with that contract at this point.
That's just such a bad take. That's just an awful take.
But this is what I'm saying. If
Stealing
UC
money.
Saros plays well tomorrow, and remember, you may not know this, but if you do, remember that in this tournament, they reseed after each round. So we'll see who Finland would draw if they were to beat Switzerland. But this is what I'm saying. Maybe his mind could be changed, or he would be open to the idea if UC Saros plays well.
It sounds like UC Saros would need to play like 20 straight great games to convince Craig that he's not stealing money. By the way, I would quiz Craig. Where does UC Saros rank among highest paid goalies in the NHL currently?
Okay, Craig. Well,
if you would like to text back,
await your response,
when
Craig.
you say he's stealing money, you tell me what he's making compared to the rest of the goalies in the league.
I am curious how this matchup between Team USA and Sweden is going to go tomorrow. Again, a roughly 2 p.m. Central puck drop here in Nashville. One thing about Team USA, they've won big, but they've gotten off to slow starts. They have a plus 11 goal differential in this tournament. In the first period, their goal differential is 0. They shake off the slow starts, and then they win big. They pile it on near the end of the game. I'm not sure that's going to fly against Sweden. That has me a little nervous about Team USA. They have not had their best stuff to start games in this tournament.
Sweden, by far, will be the best team that they have played to this point in the tournament. It's not even close. So I agree with you. I do think that they have built they've outshot their opponent, but it's taken them a while for the goals to start going in.
Right.
It's been going in
kind of similar to the Predators recently.
Well,
slow starts, but
except for not falling behind.
Yes,
you're not down 1-0 or 2-0 early like
Correct.
the Predators have way too many times. I think the U.S. will probably need their best game. I think they've played well. I don't think they've played their best in any of the 3 games so far. I think the guy that can really flip it for Team USA, if he can really find his groove, is Austin Matthews.
I think he's been great in this tournament.
He's been good, but he's the guy. There always seems to be we need more. We need more. And I think he had a good game in the last game. But if you can get his line going with Eichel's line going, Eichel and the Kachucks are one line.
Oh, yeah. They're dragging us into the fight.
Matthews is on the next line. Right. And so you know what you're getting with them.
Yes.
And that's, I think, going to be turned up in this next game, too. I think they've known, the Kachucks, that they haven't had to have the nastiness to this point of the tournament to be successful. And remember, they jumped right out and did it in the 4 Nations, and they got hurt, right? There's a little price that you can pay for being extra physical or nasty, but I think the nastiness could come out in this next game. So I feel good about that line. If Matthews' line is really tough to stop, then I think you really start to have a matchup advantage if the U.S. just a little more depth than Sweden.
USA versus Sweden tomorrow in the quarterfinals of the men's hockey tournament. By the way, Austin Matthews' line in this tournament: Jake Gensel on the left wing, Matt Boldy on the right.
Boldy is really good. He might be the best player you don't know much about.
And the Predators play him 5 times a year.
Yeah, but don't you think he's not a guy, because they have Kaprizov and they have those guys, he doesn't get quite the headlines.
But he should.
Of a star. Yeah, he should. I agree.
He had a hat trick against the Predators in 12 minutes a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, if you didn't know who he was when you came to that game, you sure do after
that
game. The other guy that I think fits that category some is Tristan Thompson. He's another guy that
Thompson.
I'm sorry.
Tristan Thompson is one of the NBA players who dated one of the Kardashians,
Cleveland
right?
Cavalier.
Retired.
Yes.
Sometimes the wires get crossed.
Yes.
You get old.
Tristan, Tage, Thompson,
They're both tall.
Yeah, I get
Tage, probably not quite as tall as Tristan, but Tage is very tall for a hockey player. But that's a guy that has looked good. He's kind of lurking down on that bottom 6. And, man, especially on the power play, he is a weapon big time.
A nearly 100-point scorer a couple of years ago.
Right. But he's been in Buffalo.
Right.
So he's not getting a lot of headlines. But, man, he is a talent.
And if I'm not mistaken, traded for Ryan O'Reilly when Ryan O'Reilly went from Buffalo to St. Louis.
Way back when. Yep.
Yeah, it's worked out. for the Sabres, kind of. 615-737-1025. We'll talk about the men's Olympic hockey tournament and more with Predators GM Barry Trotz. He joins us coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. The Predators have been off because of the Olympics, but they'll be back soon. And joining us on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, Predators GM Barry Trotz, who is now presented by Green Ventures Landscaping and Gary Force Acura. Hi, Barry. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're great. Thank you for joining us. So, what have your impressions been of the men's hockey tournament so far, specifically the performance of the Predators players who are over there?
Well, I think, obviously wasn't really happy that Phil wasn't one of the 12 forwards in game one, but you're starting to see that the coach has got off his ego and is putting Philip in, and Philip scored today. So that was good. I think our guys have done well. I think Hall has done very, very well. I think he's playing extremely well, actually, in the role they have him. I think Juice has gotten better and better as this tournament has gone on. And I think Yost has been Yost. He's been all world. So I haven't seen every game of every one of them, but I've seen bits and pieces of most of them. And that's my first impression.
You just referenced Philip Forsberg's usage at the Olympics. He did score today for Sweden, which will take on the United States tomorrow afternoon here, Central Time. But through the first 3 games, Forsberg averaged just like 7.5 minutes of ice time. That was up today. But what is your understanding of why Sweden isn't using Forsberg as much as we all expected?
Well, I don't have any understanding. I just have assumptions based on not much, just watching. I do know this from being over and being part of the let's say Hockey Canada in the past and World Cup of Hockey and things like that. That anytime there's best on best, you try to play your best players, and you try to every player on that team. If you don't feel that they can play in a top 6 role, they're pretty adaptable to in those short tournaments to say, hey, you want me to check? We're playing for Olympic medal here. I want to win a medal. I will do whatever it takes. And if you wanted, it doesn't have to be Philip Forsberg, it could be any player. You can put him in a situation. And I know as a coach, I want you to play this role for this short period of time for their country. They will do that. And I didn't understand the coach's theory a whole lot. I just think that my assumption is that he didn't like the way Philip was playing either in the previous tournaments or the Four Nations, whatever, and started him in that role. And Philip has been a professional about it and is starting to get the play and starting to elevate his role. So sometimes you can't see the trees for the forest. So I think that's unfortunate, but Philip's responding really well, and that's what you want. I just know Philip is a person and a player, and he's handled it maybe not the most comfortable situation, but from afar watching, I think he's handled it quite well.
Barry Trotz is with us. Barry, the Olympic roster freeze lifts next week. Have you and your fellow GM still been in touch during the break? And what sort of trade activity do you expect around the NHL once that freeze ends?
Well, I think once the freeze ends, you're going to get some. I think you're going to probably have some minor deals. You're going to have a couple deals out of the gate. The situation with there's probably, I would say, a dozen or half the GMs that are over in Europe right now, and the other half of us are here in North America. So I know I've made all the calls through all the teams, and a lot of it is just let's wait and see till the after the sort of the trade freeze, and a lot of the teams want to get a couple games into the schedule again to do some things. But I think a lot of stuff is you're trying to find out where your team is, who's available, what the prices are, and what teams are doing what. So I think a lot of that is starting to happen more this week than the previous week. I phoned around last week with a few other general managers, and a lot of the other general managers that are over in Europe, they're waiting till probably this after the quarterfinals here.
Now, Barry, how do you sort of go about, wanting your guys to get rest, but also rooting for them during this time? Because you know that once everything's over, your team's got to get back going, and you guys got a hard stretch. So how do you kind of balance those two?
I don't know if there's a balance. I'll be bluntly honest. Anybody who goes to the Olympics and they're on my team, or I have a relationship with anybody, I want them to go for it. I want them to win a gold medal, and sometimes bad things happen, which I don't want. I hold my breath. I pray a little bit that no one gets hurt, but I do want them to give their all. And if they get nicked up, that is just part of the process and part of representing your country, and part of being a competitor is that you want to leave nothing, nothing left. You want to leave it all there. So it's obviously I want them to be healthy when they get back. So, but I do cheer that they are not playing tentative. They're playing for real, and they're not holding back.
Barry Trotz is with us, Predators general manager. So, Barry, your observation on who you think is maybe playing the best as we get ready for the big games tomorrow. The knockout stage starts tomorrow, so all of this has been sort of table setting until now. Who's jumped out at you?
Well, the hockey that I've seen, the USA women's hockey team is a
juggernaut.
Wagon. Yeah, it is a juggernaut. They are fast and they are deep. On the men's side, I like the way the U.S. is playing. I think their defense is going to be a difference maker in the tournament here. But I do see some looseness at times with them. Team Canada, they seem to have really good structure. If they can hold everything together, obviously they got a lot of pedigree on that team with guys like Sid and Doughty. But I really think they're the two teams, and I think that's those are the two teams you want to see in the finals. I think especially if we're over here in North America, they're the deepest. But in one game shots, you just never know. You saw some strange goals go in earlier in the tournament that didn't unnerve U.S. They had a couple games where some goals unnerved them, didn't unnerve them, but went in. I think it was their second game. Those are good things to go through as a team. I do like the Finns game is starting to come around. I know everybody was a little critical on the Finns, especially early, but they've sort of come around, and which you'd normally think that they're the pesky Finns, and they sort of have a team game. The team that sort of surprised me that is the Slovaks. They have a pretty good team game going, and if they can get goaltending, they could be a one-hit wonder type of thing and knock someone out. But I would never count out the Czechs. And the Swedes game is, now that they got some of their big boys playing higher up, like Philip, their chances are elevating. But I still think the class is the U.S. and Canada.
Well, let's ask you then about probably the most intriguing matchup here. Of course, with the U.S. playing, it didn't matter who they were playing, but they clearly have drawn the toughest quarterfinal just for the way the draw. Somehow Sweden is the 7th seed, but we know they're on paper a lot better than that. What would you be looking for tomorrow? What's the key matchup for the USA to play well?
Well, I think obviously for them, I think getting to the Swedish net has been a really something that the U.S. has been strong, especially the Kachuk line. So from the Swedish side, you're going to have to keep those guys out of the blue paint. They're getting sticks, they're getting screens, they're getting pucks in those real tough areas and winning the war inside the blue paint. And the Swedes are going to have to stiffen up there if they're going to have success against the U.S. I think both teams are highly skilled. They both can transition well, and both of them are dangerous on the power play. So and goaltending on both sides, I think is both are good goaltending. I just think it's going to be a lot of the hard areas, getting to that blue paint and winning that paint war all night.
One thing that has been observed, and I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it does seem like they have a little different interpretation of goaltender interference in that tournament. Like, you can't breathe on the goalie. It looks like they're tighter with how they call it. Do you like that? Is it, or do you like more the way, even though it seems to cause, it's always going to be a source of debate, but how do you see it the way they're calling it here?
It's more the international way. If your foot's in the blue paint, and they're a little bit, I'll say, liberal with that. Where the NHL, you can get there, and then there's probably a lot more for interpretation, if you will. I don't mind it. You can still win the paint war just outside the paint, and I think you're seeing it. I think they're very conscious of it. I can tell you this, that these players are the best in the world, and they're going to have not only they're going to push the limits, they're going to get it right on the edge, and they're going to sell it because they know how to. And I still think it's the way they call it. It's going to be just fine, and both teams can still get to the blue paint and cause a lot of havoc around the crease.
Barry Trotz is with us. Just a couple of more questions for you, Barry. You know Tom Wilson well. He was part of a rare fight in Canada's game against France the other day. How do you think Wilson has represented himself in this tournament for Canada?
I think he's done really well. I mean, watching, unfortunately, Kevin Fiala got hurt,
yes.
But Tom was hitting legally, and actually being very, I'll say, conscious of the fact that he had to change his game and hit a little differently. And actually, just looking at that play, it was actually a very innocent play. Probably nothing happens if Kevin doesn't try to avoid it. And he tried to avoid it, and he actually tripped up Wilson, which fell on him and ended up hurting him. But I like Tom. If you look at that, the rare fight, it wasn't really a fight. It was just to me, it was just tugging. The player from France actually pulled Tom, and you could see Tom going, I can't fight, and he actually pulled him down. I was very happy that when Tom got up, the French player tried to get as far away from Tom Wilson as he could. But I think he's been very, very disciplined, and I think a couple of teams and a couple of guys have actually tried to light his fuse a little bit, and he's not buying it. He's too smart. He knows what's on the line. That I'd be very surprised. But it'll be interesting if we can get into a gold medal game, and you got the Kachucks and you got Wilson out there. The Kachucks might have a little more backbone, knowing that the fighting's not as prevalent in the Olympic hockey. So I shouldn't say that. They get lots of backbone. I said that in the wrong way. Just that that you might be able to push the limits a little bit more before you have to have some retribution. So that's probably a better way to say it, because the Kachucks have lots of backbone. I never doubt that for a minute. But Tom Wilson's a handful, and so are the Kachucks. So I'm waiting for that matchup hopefully in a medal game.
Barry, before we let you go, since I don't think we've spoken to you since this news came out, but the franchise announced recently that it will not be using CAA as part of the GM search as originally planned after the NHLPA voiced concerns about potential conflicts of interest. What was your reaction to those objections, and how will the GM search change now that CAA is no longer involved?
Well, I think from a standpoint, anything that the PA and anytime they have concerns, they're legit all the time. I believe that they look at the big picture just as they look at that there might be some favoritism because there's a number of different agencies and not only CAA, but a number of different agencies have players and represent different types of entertainers and what have you. So I get that. I think from our standpoint, everything will be filtered through our offices, and a whole lot won't change, I don't think, other than that they won't be delivering, a lot of people to us, I guess. So I think we're going to have lots of candidates, lots of people of that are very worthy, and they're going to get in touch with us one way or another. If they're going to get in touch with myself, Bill Haslam, Sean Henry, someone with our organization if they have any interest in it. So I'm not that concerned that that CAA is not necessarily a part of it, but I understand the concern of the PA, and we respect that 100%. So we're still going to do a very thorough search, and we'll have some great candidates, I'm sure.
Predators GM Barry Trotz has been our guest on D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick. He joins us every Tuesday during hockey season, and he is now presented by Green Ventures Landscaping and Gary Force Acura. Barry, as always, we appreciate your time. We'll see you tomorrow, Smashville Live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs.
Absolutely. And I just have one question.
Of course.
What are the snacks that D. Mace brought in today?
Oh, he's got the peanut M&Ms here.
He's got the triple ginger cookie thins from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, not double, but triple ginger.
Triple ginger.
Oh, Willie, you got a Kit Kat, so don't talk.
I do have a Kit Kat. I do, yeah. But the triple ginger cookie thins,
I think
that's
you would
your
like
type.
these.
That's an upscale.
I think you would
snack.
like these,
Yeah.
Barry. I think you would like them.
All right. Well, I always get hit every year with the Girl Scout cookies, either from one of our coaching staff who has a Girl Scout in their family or one of our trainers. So I may bring you a box of Girl Scout cookies, D. Mace.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I will eat them too.
I know you will.
Thanks, Barry. 615-737-1025. Again, a reminder that Barry Trotz will be the special guest at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs tomorrow for Smashville Live, 6 p.m. right here on 1025 The Game, co-hosted by Max Hers and our very own Willie Donick. So we will be out there as well from 3 to 6. So come on out tomorrow in the afternoon, hang out with us, and then hang out with Barry Trotz as part of Smashville Live. That's tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
If you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. Law Tigers fights to get you the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. Look, they understand how much your bike gear is worth to you and what it means to you. So they will help you get it all repaired or better yet, replaced. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Fuson, and you can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Ave South. And don't forget, go to PredatorsBike.com to enter to win a custom Nashville Predator Indian motorcycle signed by the entire team, courtesy of Law Tigers and Music City Indian. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
D Mace, Vingen and Donick, 102.5 The Game.
Never gonna turn around and hurt you. What was that on, Willie? What movie was that on?
Hold on. Is it Back to the Future?
No.
A hint, Eddie Murphy movie.
This is an Eddie Murphy movie.
It was an Eddie Murphy movie.
I can completely remember when this song came out. Rick Astley.
Of course.
This reminds me of the Rick roll, right?
Yes.
Because this came out, what, in the 80s?
Late
80s, early
87,
90s. Yeah.
88, maybe?
Yeah, this was on the first Beverly Hills Cop.
The first Beverly Hills Cop? No way.
Yes, it was.
No, because that movie came out before
the second one.
The
second one. It was on the second one. The second one. Because I remember him riding.
I'm not making
him riding. They was showing Sunshine. I know he was in California already when they were playing the song.
I need to double check this because I'm not making this connection.
You're not making a connection?
No. And I love both of the Beverly Hills Cop. We need to verify this.
We'll look it up.
Yes.
We will look it up. But let's continue our conversation from earlier about the Titans at number 4. So the question we were asking earlier about wide receiver or defense at number 4, because ESPN's Jason Reed suggested that the Titans go with Carnell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State, at number 4, suggesting that the Titans follow the Panthers' plan from last season when the Panthers drafted Ted McMillan at number 8 overall to grow with Bryce Young. The follow-up question, of course, is, will it be easier for the Titans to find a wide receiver or edge rusher in free agency? Off the top of my head, I would assume it would be easier to find a wide receiver in free agency than an edge rusher, but I don't think any of the wide receivers who could be available are number 1 caliber wide receivers. We don't expect George Pickens to leave Dallas, do we?
Unless you want to give up a haul for him. They're going to tag him.
And the Titans are not in a position to give up assets for players right now.
No, they're not. And as good as talented as he is, there's a reason why he's been on several teams. Start out with Pittsburgh, going to Dallas. And it had nothing to do with his ability to play the game, because he is a number 1 bona fide receiver. It's the other stuff. Hopefully he's matured, because he was young, but still, when you're in this business, you got to grow up quick. So maybe he's matured, but nah, that's going to cost you a lot of money and draft picks.
I continue to see analysts linking or attempting to match the Titans with Alec Pierce of Indianapolis. We talked about this last week. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I continue to see Alec Pierce as a fit for the Titans. Stephen Holder of ESPN.com, who covers the Colts, said this about Pierce and a franchise tag situation. Quote, Pierce's situation is more fluid, as the Colts already have significant capital invested in Michael Pittman, and have not historically spent a ton of money at receiver. Pierce, who eclipsed 1,000 receiving yards for the first time in 2025 and is one of the league's most dangerous deep threats, is expected to have a very robust market if he makes it to free agency. Holder notes that the last time the Colts have used the franchise tag was Michael Pittman in 2024. He signed a long-term deal 2 weeks later, but that is the only time since 2013 the Colts have used the franchise tag. But again, we've talked about this with Alec Pierce.
I'll give you my philosophical answer to your question without diving in on any one individual free agent, because we've talked a lot about Pierce. We'll have to see if they end up tagging him, all that stuff. I would be looking at it more from a big picture mindset. If I'm Borgonzi and Saleh, I still feel like, even though it's Borgonzi's second year, it's Saleh's first year. You got a new staff. I want to think, who can I latch on to in the draft and to a second level of free agency? Who's going to be around for 2, 3, 4 years? And obviously the draft picks you hope are around for a long time. And that's why I think Trevor's theory of who to use for the 4th pick is who do you have rated the best of those guys? Take the best player. Who's got the best chance of being the stud?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that would be what might break the tie between do I take a wide receiver or an edge rusher? Who do I have on my board that is the best? If it's the wide receiver, then take the wide receiver. And for the free agency, I think I'm trying to shy away from guys that I'm trying to go year to year. And I want somebody that I hope I could latch alongside of Cam Ward for 2 or 3 years. That's why maybe Pierce fits the mold a little more because he's younger than a lot of the free agents that come out. He is like Ridley when he had free agency was close to 30. Pierce is closer to 25. I think Pierce will be 26 this year.
Yes, 26 if he's not already. But okay, and I know why, you go out and you get a edge rusher, someone that can get to the quarterback, and it's made it even more of a spotlight because of what the Seattle Seahawks did this past Super Bowl. And then you look back to the last Super Bowl before that, look at what the Philadelphia defense did. But in both of those situations, they didn't have like a 15, 20 sack guy. They had a bunch of guys collectively playing really well together. They had some guys that were really good, that played really well, but you didn't look at them and say, that's an elite pass rusher. That's a guy. It was the scheme that helped get them, get some of these guys to the quarterback. It was the blitzing. It was that type of thing, whether it be with Philadelphia last year or Seattle this year. They didn't have a, J.J. Watt or Bosa or Myles Garrett. They didn't have that type of guy. What they had was some really good players and a scheme that fit them. That's why I understand you got to get you a defensive edge rusher, but if you believe in Saleh and what his defense can do, he could take those good players and make them even better as they play together. I want me a flat-out guy that's going to grow with my quarterback. And you see it throughout the league everywhere. Just look, everywhere you see it, whether it's in Cincinnati with their trio, Dallas,
Chase and T. Higgins,
exactly,
CeeDee
Lamb and Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Seattle, they just won a Super Bowl.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Exactly, Philadelphia. You got to have a team that can score some points, and you got to have some dogs on the outside.
It's been a long time.
Exactly.
It's been since, 2020, 2021, since they really had
the
ability to score a lot of points.
Exactly. So I would trust Saleh with some good guys and have a great receiver than give him the great defensive guys and we just work with some good receivers.
By the way, we will hear from Brian Daboll tomorrow. Brian Daboll and Gus Bradley, the new offensive and defensive coordinators, respectively, for the Tennessee Titans, will address reporters tomorrow at noon, I believe. So curious to hear what they have to say. Specifically, Daboll. By the way, Willie, to answer your previous question, Alec Pierce turns 26 in May. Calvin Ridley was 29 when he signed with the Tennessee Titans.
Man.
That's a pretty significant difference there. So you can envision Pierce being a part of your team for several years.
About 3-4 years. If he stays healthy and is productive.
Just for kicks and giggles, here are the top edge defenders available in free agency according to Pro Football Focus. Trey Hendrickson, number 1. Odafe Owe, number 2. Jalen Phillips, 3. Boye Mafe, 4. Joey Bosa, 5. Those are the top 5 edge defenders available in free agency per Pro Football Focus.
And all those guys are going to be, majority of them that said that.
And also Jadeveon Clowney.
They're going to be bridge guys. Yeah, exactly. They're going to be bridge guys. They're going to be bridge guys. They're not going to be guys that you envision being on your franchise for the next, 4 or 5 years. So again, if it's me, I trust Saleh and what he can do defensively. I will pass on the edge rusher because you said there's some really good edge rushers out there that may not be many that are elite, and the elite guys are going to go. But when you're talking the second round, you can find a good player that in your system under you, he may turn out to be the player that you would have drafted, in the first round.
Matt on our text line says, Derek, did it hurt to have the freak? Meaning Javon Curse, of course.
No, it didn't. But we felt that we were that one guy away, and they went and got Javon. And Javon with his immediate success, but we still had a hard time scoring. We were ground and pound,
but
that's what we were.
That brings,
and we
that
had
brings
to
up,
upgrade our off. We had to, and we did, but we had to upgrade to score points with the other team, because we couldn't always hold everybody, even though our defense was damn good. When you're playing to get the Baltimore Ravens, you need to have some guys that can score points.
But Javon turned a good defense into a great defense almost overnight.
But they were one guy away. They were one guy away, and they got him. And
but
he was big.
That brings up a point that Trevor made that I think is a good one, is that we always kind of quickly say you got to get the offensive player to help the quarterback. But he made the point that the defensive player, in his own way, if he's that good of a player, can take the pressure off of your quarterback because he has to do less. If your defense is better, the offense doesn't have to be as successful. It's a little unconventional thinking, but I could make that argument on the 99 Titans that Javon Curse helped Steve McNair because the defense was giving up, 15 or 20 points. You didn't have to score 30. You could play the ball control, give it to Eddie George 30 times. Steve McNair, a growing passer. It was a ball, and the formula worked. And Curse
was a part of that
in a secondary way, helped the offense be able to play that way.
Well, they had tried 3 years prior to that with Kenny Holmes, and Kenny dealt with injuries, and he never could.
And Curse made Holmes better.
Exactly, and he never really could. And then when Curse got there, it was like we needed that one guy, and they felt that they were. But then you add in the defensive scheme that they were running under Greg Williams. All of them benefited in that too, because it was an attack type of defense. And Javon was good at attacking. He could play the run. He could do just about anything. But because you were in attack mode all the time, it gave him the ability to pin his ears back and go.
615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction as we wrap up the show. Coming up next, some comments made by Tony Vitello yesterday have made the rounds. We'll discuss those coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
All right, let's tell you about Loan Pronto. Remember, these are the days where Loan Pronto wants you to know that the rates are down and it's time to take advantage of it. So if high-interest credit cards and other loans are sucking the life out of your finances, then it's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity in your home and get the cash you need now so you can pay it all off. So here's an example. Chloe and Ethan just did this. They consolidated all of their high interest debt into one super low monthly payment that gave them an extra $1,000 a month. So your budget's going to come out better with the rates better, and you can use your home's equity to your advantage to pay off those higher interest loans. LoanPronto.com is where you can get much more information on this, and it's called the Rapid Equity Loan Program. They can get you $100,000, $200,000, and even more than that in cash to pay off the credit card, slash that monthly payment, breathe easier, get your life back. So interest rates are at a 3-year low. So Loan Pronto could be reached at 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
When did you first think I was taking this job? Do you remember that far back?
Yeah, it was about 4 days before it actually happened, 5 days before.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because that was not reality, at all. I don't know if Buster would feel the same way, but that wasn't the case. Somebody decides they think they got the information. The final blow was about 4 days later. And the thing I'm just kind of having a conversation, therapy, if you will, from walking out of there. But I needed confirmation from the coaches that I worked with that helped boost my status, that they were okay with what was going to go on and they were going to be okay with their jobs. That staff had always been built as like next man up. And all of a sudden that was being threatened. So it was kind of hard to do something for yourself and your teammates get left behind. But yeah, it was not 4 days for what it's worth. That was not the case at all. If you would have seen me in my condo, you would have agreed.
That was new San Francisco Giants manager, former Tennessee baseball coach, Tony Vitello. Unprompted, as I understand it, he just sat down in the dugout yesterday at spring training, and that's how he started his news conference.
Yeah.
Nobody asked him about it. That was months ago, by the way.
Like,
but he sat down and felt the need to, as he said, have some therapy. But I found that to be quite odd.
It was almost as if he's trying to sort of this sympathy thing. He's trying to get some sympathy. Maybe he's heard or he's afraid he's going to hear some backlash eventually on him leaving Tennessee and taking his job. So he wants to kind of get in front of it and bring up the conversation and sort of tries to paint it in a way where you are sympathetic to him. If you would have saw me in my condo, it wasn't 4 days. What was the story, right? Yes, it was right. You were taking a job. So I don't understand this whole preemptive, let me bring it up. And to me, it just sounds like somebody that wants a little bit of sympathy.
But it's so misguided. What does he have to gain? I would contend that a San Francisco Giants fan who is living in the Bay Area or maybe even displaced from Sacramento or something, do they even know he coached at Tennessee? Do they have any idea what he's talking about? Do they care? I would contend that 99% of them don't. He's the manager. You want to hear about the Giants. You're not concerned about what happened in Knoxville 4 months ago or whatever, however went that down. And he, like you said, it'd be one thing if somebody just threw it at him and it struck him and he decided to say it. He initiated it on the air. I had a journalist tell me today, and I think this is probably the way that he should have done it. He probably should have gone to a couple of writers away from the cameras, the phones, people videoing the formal press conference and had that to get it off his chest. Because he somehow was bothered that somebody scooped the story before he was ready to tell people he was leaving, right? That's happened to a million coaches over the last million years, as long as they've been playing sports and covering sports.
Something's always leaking.
You don't always get to release it the way you want to. Sometimes stuff leaks.
This is a reminder that Willie Dunnick is a graduate of Vanderbilt University.
It's got nothing to do with it. I would say the same thing about a Vanderbilt coach. I just don't that he had nothing to gain with that. It was just really bizarre.
Here's another.
Like if you're a Giants fan sitting there going, why do I care about that?
Here's another.
Tell me about who's playing first base.
Here's another quote from that therapy session from Tony Vitello. Quote, everybody wanted to know what was going on, and for good reason. The locker room got a little testy, and I just sat and had pizza and drank a beer and watched football for a little bit. Pretty excited to watch the Alabama-Tennessee football game, as is everybody else in the state. But when your name is on the ticker, that kind of causes you to turn on Seinfeld or whatever the hell I put on.
Right. Again, that happened in Knoxville in the fall. Do the San Francisco Giants fans care about that? Do his players for the Giants care about that at all?
Here's the view from San Francisco from Andrew Baggerly of The Athletic, reacting to what Tony Vitello said yesterday. Quote, does that mean that Vitello failed to appreciate the distinction between a job being offered and accepted, or that he failed to understand that distinction? Either way, for someone seeking to prove that they can make the transition from an amateur background, his rear view focus on Monday probably wasn't the most professional look.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And this is why.
And he's being kind. I think as a writer that knows he's going to be around that guy every day.
Yeah.
Right. So he doesn't want to just completely put him on the outs before the season even started. But I mean, what if you're coming in as a beat writer and he starts with that? You're like, what are we talking about?
And this is why, look, I haven't paid attention to the San Francisco Giants in any any form, really, since Barry Bonds' home run chase. And how long ago was that, right? But as we have discussed, Tony Vitello is the first manager in Major League history to be directly hired from a college program without any professional experience. So you have to keep that in mind. We know his personality. I am fascinated by how this is going to go. I am really interested to see how he makes the transition to Major League Baseball.
We all are.
Because he is doing something that, as I just said, has never been done before. He has zero professional coaching experience. And he's now taking over a proud franchise.
Test subject.
Yeah. But I am really fascinated by how this is going to go.
Okay, but you were a beat writer. So if you were sitting there, what would your thoughts have been?
Man, this is strange.
Right. I think all of us did.
Did somebody ask him about Tennessee? No? Then why are we talking about this? That would be my inner dialogue.
Well, that's because he wants to paint his narrative.
But why didn't he do? I don't know if he did this during his introductory news conference. But this is something you do then or in the days immediately following the hire, not 4 months, 3 months later, whatever it is.
But he's got to be conscious of how is this going to play. Like I think the Tennessee baseball community has moved on. They're rooting for him to do well for the Giants. They've got their guys. It doesn't affect anything that's happening back at Tennessee. I could see if he thought there was something to gain for the Tennessee program, they're playing. The season started. They're going. They've moved on. It's water under the bridge. But whether this had happened or not, I think we're all fascinated by, if you've watched him during every game, he is on the top step of he's out of the dugout for a Tennessee game. He is as close to the home plate umpire as you could possibly be for every game. I just don't think you can do that in Major League Baseball. I'm very curious how his day-to-day operations are with the Major League game as opposed to the college game. Because he will probably, I don't know, maybe he'll try to be the same, which would be fascinating if he does. I just never seen a guy do it.
Well, I mean, maybe he can do it at home games and not away, or do it in away games and not at home.
We're going to find out.
What is the Major League record for most ejections in a season?
Ooh.
Well, it's really gone down over the years because of the replay system, right? You just don't have Bobby Cox is the record holder of all time.
It appears that it's 11, held by multiple people.
Right. It probably nobody recently, right?
Let's see.
Bobby Cox,
Bobby Cox in 2001. Bobby Cox in 2001.
He's the all-time guy.
Yes, he also had 10 in 2007.
Hey.
That's in the National League. In the American League, Jerry Manuel had 10.
Wow.
In
one season.
In 2003, in one season. Aaron Boone had 9 in 2022.
Okay, so that's fairly recent.
Yeah.
But you just don't have the classic running out of the dugout and arguing with the ump anymore because it's all replay now.
Yeah.
There's the challenge system.
So
it's harder to get thrown out now.
Over under 5
chirping,
ejections.
Yeah, over under 5
Aaron Boone
ejections.
has gotten nailed a few times being audible. If you say the wrong thing, and Aaron Boone does like to get on that top step too. So this is what to watch for, I think, for if you're going to chirp about the balls and strikes, and there's still not a challenge system like there will be soon. Are they doing it? They're not doing that this year, right? The
That's
minor
a better
league
question for you than for
the
me.
minor league challenge system, which you have at a Sounds game, if you go, which I think works very well. But again, it takes away the spiciness of the jawing back and forth from the dugout to the home plate umpire.
How do you think it's going to go for Tony Vitello?
Vitello?
Yes.
He's going to have to adjust if he's going to make it long term. I think to some degree. Can you still be fiery? Can you still be emotional? Yes. But 162 games as opposed to 60 or 70 for a college season cannot be the same heartbeat. It's got to be a different beat that he's got to switch to.
We'll see. As I said, I don't have any other reason to pay attention to the San Francisco Giants, but I might be watching from afar.
Well, I was a guy that went from the college game to the minor league baseball game. I don't want to say I was taken aback, but it was notable how different the day-to-day approach is from college to pro. It's just not as emotional. There's not as much at stake every game because you're playing so many games. It's more about the even keel over the long term. And college baseball is some, but there's still a little bit of element in a college baseball game of emotion and gear up for the big game, that, the school spirit kind of thing. That's all gone at the top level.
So you don't think, which it's not just him, but it's, he's probably used to getting his players going every game. Getting these guys going every game, it's going to be a task in itself.
Yeah, I Tim Corbin, who's not nearly as fiery as Tony Vitello, but Tim Corbin's got, they got team meetings. There's a lot of teaching that goes on at the college game. I don't know about Vitello every day, but I know in the big leagues, it is not a game where you're going to go in and have a team, all 25 guys in there, where you're addressing the team and you're getting a motivational speech. You just don't do that. It's a day-to-day clock in, even keel, get the job done. And then there's little meetings that go on. The pitching coach, the video coach, everybody's got their way of getting prepared for the game. But it's very different from college to pro.
That'll do it for us today on the program. We will be live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs tomorrow at 3 p.m. ahead of Smashville Live at 6 p.m. featuring Willie Donick, Max Hers, and Barry Trotz. In case you missed Barry Trotz's interview with us earlier, it will soon be up wherever you get your podcast. But come on out to Brewhouse South early tomorrow. Hang out with us again, 3 to 6. We'll talk to you then.
Be loved, love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful day. I love you. The team loves you. You hear that music. Don't you forget about us, because we will not forget about you. See you tomorrow from Cool Springs. What is it called again?
Brewhouse South.
Brewhouse South at 3 p.m. 102.5.
Read the liners, Derek.
Peace.